Hey y'all, it is Mr. Exclusive here. It's regular old degular me today. I didn't do much for my face or nothing like that because I just been working on school classwork all day. So before I go out tonight, so I didn't feel like putting up makeup on too early either. So here I am. And today I want to come in and talk about the Jeffrey Dahmer Netflix series. And I want to do some reviews on the first 4 episodes I only got a chance to watch. So one thing that I do not understand about this series, well, the victims who were killed, I don't understand. You meeting someone and you basically running off without any friend or without any, you know, family member or anybody with you while you're hanging around this person that you just met like the same night or the same day. These victims, let's start with the first victim. The first victim was the black guy. I can't remember his name. Well, they started out with that being his last victim, which he made it out alive. I'm sorry, and then he got caught. Let's go back to the. I think the first one was Smithimus phone or something like that. Smithimus phone, the Asian man guy or something. They said that earlier that he was trying to assault or and murder his brother. And I think his brother might have made it out as well, but he didn't get caught that time. Dahmer didn't, so he ended up getting caught or ended up catching up with his brother, which was the other Smith Masson brother or whatever. And so I don't know why. What made him think that he could trust him after the things his brother said? Like, did you believe that your brother was lying, or what was it? That's what I was wanting to know because it just seemed like, you know, you wouldn't want to like be. You can tell by his personality and some of the way of his. He was seemingly normal, but then he would be somebody that I wouldn't preferably hang around with. I'll just say, or especially alone without anybody, there to comfort me or something. Because I would get this eerie feeling, and my intuition tells me things, and hair stands up on the back of my chest and my fucking back and shit. And so, y'all didn't have that intuition or that feeling of where you just needed to not fuck with him or whatever. That you just was able to go with him by yourself without anybody and end up dead or end up getting attacked or possibly getting killed or attacked because what he did with Smith must phone, he lured him in and said, you want to make some money and he's gonna get some pictures out of him or whatever. And so I guess Smith must phone was just eager for the money. I don't know what, but me, I would be like, hell no, fuck no, or let my friend come with me or something, because I don't even fucking know you like that. And especially if I heard the shit that my brother was saying, supposedly saying about him, I wouldn't have even went. No amount of money would have made me want to go. But he chose to go for whatever reason. I don't know. So they get there, have a few drinks first. Um, he's kind of, Dahmer is a little bit on the questionable side during this point. Smith must fall and just sitting there looking, which probably wasn't much he could do anyway by that time. He was already in the fucking apartment, so he wasn't gonna let him leave without a fight, without a killing, because that's who Dahmer was. And you already know that your brother said, I don't know how the fuck he made it out safely, but some kind of way he made it out, possibly to say what he said, and for Dahmer to hear it, and to try to get the brother. You know, should have known that you weren't gonna make it out. So I don't know. He went in there and he was in there talking to him or whatever. Then he wanted Smith must have demanded the money. Dahmer gave him the money, didn't have a problem. He said I only got 49 or something like that. And that's all you can get, and once you finish you'll get the rest or whatever. That was the first episode, and turns out he ended up drugging him with the drink that he gave him. That was when the drug started. I don't know. This seemed like the first episode. This was in the beginning, but I don't know if this was the beginning. I believe this was his first victim, if I'm not mistaken, because this was the one where he was made it out the first time he was naked in the street, and Glenda Cleveland and the other people in the neighborhood or whatever complex neighborhood had saw him run out, and he wasn't really alert. You know, his eyes was in the below his head, so you can tell he was drugged with something. He put acid in his brain, so he really couldn't, you know, be cooperative or nothing. I don't know what it could have did to him, but you know, obviously acid in the brain could do something to you and fuck you all the way up for life. I don't know what exactly he did to him, but he was just, you know, he was able to run, and he was obviously able to see, for what I can see from the movie, a little bit to make it to the street and make it out of the complex. And you know, he was just sitting there, but he couldn't really say nothing. He was just mumbling or like, you know, he was just so, you know, by that time the police had came, they had called the police. Not long after that, Dahmer had left, and that's how he was able to get out of the apartment. He left to go to the store, and he came back around the corner and saw Smith's phone, whatever his name is. Y'all please correct me. I'm gonna have to sound it out so I can say it right, because I can't. And saw him sitting on the stairs, at the bottom of the stairs with the police and with Miss Glenda Cleveland and all of them. And he played it off and said that he was his drunk boyfriend, and that, you know, he needed trying to get him to stop drinking, but he didn't want to, and he demanded a new drink, so he went to the store to get him some drinks. And he's really disgruntled or whatever, and tried to play it out that they had gotten into a little argument or whatever, and that he was just going to take him back up because he was really intoxicated or whatever. So this is another thing that I want to make. This is another point I want to make. We know, especially in today's time, how the police department or the authorities will not sometimes do their full job or do what it is that they obviously need to do. They did not investigate that any further. They just let him take Cynthia's phone back up to his apartment and let him go on back to his apartment complex and on his couch, and he laid him down on his couch, and he was drugged, which he played off, said he was drunk, but we all know he was drugged, because ain't nobody drugged go look like that, the way that he was looking, because his eyes were sinking in the bottom of his fucking eyelids. Like, nobody drunk does that. That's something right there. I don't even know. But never saw Smith's phone again. But back to the point I was making. You know, we see in today's time how the authorities will not, you know, always do what it is that we feel that they need to do for justice for us and for people as a community. And I'm not even just going to speak about the black community, because in this case it was a white and Asian people, and it was a black woman reporting. Maybe that's why it was a black woman reporting it, and they probably, you know, just threw her off. That's probably what it was. Maybe she was just a black woman and they didn't want to listen to her because she was black. I don't know. But they didn't investigate. They said, ma'am, this is just a boyfriend. He said it was his boyfriend. Anybody can say anything. You know, if I were to try to commit murder and I'm trying not to get in trouble and I'm trying to, you know, get past it and do it and not get caught, I'm going to tell you a fucking lie. If I slip up and I may be a possible chance where I may get arrested, I'm going to slip up and come up with a good lie too. You didn't even try to investigate this guy boy's age or nothing, because in the series, Glenda said that the guy was possibly 14 because he was out there playing with the other kids that her other neighbor knew, or somebody that she knew, in the playground. And they pretend like, ma'am, this is just a disgruntled boyfriend. He basically said he could possibly be 14, and basically, we don't think you telling the truth. We don't know you telling the truth. You obviously are not telling the truth, and we really don't give a fuck at this point because he's told us everything he needs to know. Okay. So he didn't get caught. Smith's phone was never seen again. We all know what happened in that situation. Next victim. Let's see. I think if I'm not mistaken, I kind of got to miss a line because it's been a few days since I watched, because it's so dark that I had to like stop for a minute and take a break because it's really dark. And I didn't want to make myself too uncomfortable because it's just like it really opened my eyes up to a lot of things. You want to go and you want to have fun. My parents always taught me to be careful of my surroundings and stuff. And you try to be, but you still just never know. And this series really opened my eyes up because this guy was completely normal as far as we knew until he snapped. And once he snapped, that was it. He just killed and gutted folks, and he was, you know, taking hearts out of people's bodies, uh, taking taking their bones out of them, and he was storing their bones and decomposing them, and this was like serious. This was like they call him the most notorious killer. Like this was like he wasn't just killing people and stabbing them and throwing them off in a fucking ditch or something. He was gutting them out like a fish. When you go catch a fish and you try to gut them out for to cook the meat, that's what he was doing. He was doing all of it. He was making sandwiches out of their body parts. He was doing all of this, right? So this man, he would have to be mentally ill because I don't know, you just have to say he had to have like a slight mental ill, and not to mention that his mother, when she was pregnant, was taking over 20 medications and narcotics and psychotic depression pills and shit when she was pregnant with him. So that probably kind of tad messed him up a little bit because medications, you're not supposed to take them, especially ones too close together, and certain ones you don't need to take, and especially when you're pregnant. It's something that you definitely probably should not fucking take, and we know this now in today's society from the effects that medications give people and stuff like that. They tell you not to do this and not to do that because it'll do this and do that. And I'm quite sure that those 20 plus or whatever she was taking, medications or depression pills and shit, had some type of effect to it. And when she was pregnant with him, that shit got in his bloodstream or to his whatever, his mental or whatever, and messed him and her probably up both some type of way. But you couldn't really tell that he was exactly messed up until he snapped. Because the way he snapped and the way his looks were, I would know before even getting to that point too close to him. I just could tell from me that he would not be somebody that I would preferably be around, just to coincidentally be around, just to have conversation. It was just something off. I would have known. That's why I don't understand about the victims. I don't know, but they the second victim, I think that was the second victim, or the one that was hitchhiking or whatever. That was the one he picked up on the side of the road. He was coming from college, I think, or something, and getting ready to hitchhike to some concert somewhere. I think it was close by some, because who go hitchhike to a concert if it's not close by? Because there's a lot. But he flagged them down. This is another thing. You can't just really flag people down no more. Even, they say back then, they say it wasn't really heard of for people to be doing this type of stuff. You can really do that and be okay. But it showed back then, since this happened in the 70s and the 80s, you couldn't really trust it back then either, but it just wasn't a lot of news and media and shit. So I guess back then, you just took your chance. You didn't really know, you just took your chance because you weren't really aware. And so nowadays you can see everything on phones, video, everything, newspaper, TV screen. It's just, now I guess it's just being projected more predominantly, that we can see, like, oh, this shit is really going on. We really need to be careful. With common sense, people with common sense really say that. Than back then, because it wasn't a whole lot of resources to really know about all the latest news and everywhere and stuff like that. So he got in the car. He said he would give him a ride. He convinced him to stop at his place to have a few drinks. I don't think he drugged him because he was fine before he killed him. He wasn't like that Smith & Wesson where he was laying in the bed and was laid out and woke up with eyes sinking in the back of his head. He was standing up there, was working out. And, You know, he told him, the guy told him he had a really nice body or whatever. He worked out really well. He took that as a compliment, but he took that as like a, compliment. Because, he was into guys, and that's what he was mostly murdering, was like you know, the, the male. And, he, I guess, I tried to come on to him, I believe. Yeah, I tried to come on to him in that episode. And the guy was like, no, I told you I'm not like that. And this is another thing. Now, I know the anger can get to the best of us sometimes. I pray to God that I don't have to commit murder on accident trying to with somebody like that, because this guy just went to saying that he was a faggot and was saying he was a something punk bitch, those little slur things that those especially southern redneck boys or whatever, men or whatever, small minded boys or men will say about a gay or LGBTQ person, especially when they get mad. Sometimes they'll show their true colors or whatever. And so he said that stuff to him, and he was mad because he wouldn't take him to the place right then, which he should have just shut the fuck up and played it off, because he would have still had his life, I believe, if he had just played it off and tried to escape later. He probably would have had to do something to him in order for him to leave. But I think at that point, if that was me, which that probably would never be me, but I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe back then it probably would have been, I don't know. But I don't think that would have been me, but he would have had to probably play it off, which I probably would have been. I know I probably would have just keep my fucking life. I would have just played it off, hoping that he didn't have no disease or nothing. I would have probably gave him whatever he needed, blowjob, whatever, and been through with it, and tried to sneak out or something while he was asleep, put him to sleep or something, and tried to sneak out some kind of way and go and leave and never return back again. That's what the fuck he should have did. I know he probably didn't want to because he was a straight man. I understand that. But sometimes you just gotta play the card. And he didn't play that card because he didn't really know that man. It's the thing I go back to. Why would you go and be alone with somebody in their own home where they got full control of their own home? And, you try to leave and they may not let you leave. And then, you just stuck, or you sex trafficked, or you kidnapped, or you dead, you murdered, because you don't know this person. You don't know anything about them. But you just decided that you would just go to their house and agree with this automatic. Because he seemed like he was cool, he seemed like he was fun, he seemed like this and that. They seem like a lot of things, but a lot of times we don't know. That's why it's best to get to know a person longer than just a day or a week or a month. Or so you got to get to know them, like get to know them and get to know them in public settings and around public places. And just read them. You got to take your time. You can't just be, just walking into stuff like taking chances like that. I've never been the type to take a chance like that. And some things for me that would have been good probably didn't work out for me because of that, and that's fine, but I just never know. It's best to be safe than fucking sorry, because that's what he was in this episode. He was sorry because he took something and he knocked the fuck out of him, and he ended up choking him to death on accident. I could tell because he regretted it immediately when he wouldn't wake up, because he kept telling him to wake up and he wouldn't wake up, and he was shaking him, and he had to do what he had to do. He had to decompose him and cut him up like he do, and he had to, put his body down and, get rid of him so he wouldn't get caught. And, unfortunately for that guy, he never made it to that concert because of that. When he should have just played it off, because you just never know what a person would do, really. You just never know. We're all capable of doing bad things. But I believe that Jeffrey Dahmer had a problem. I believe that he was slightly mentally ill. But also, maybe I believe that, I know that this from the series, he also had an issue with people neglecting him. His mother neglecting him when he was, just a teenage guy, whatever, and left with his brother. And his mother said something really nasty to him before she left, because she was being abused relationship with his father or whatever, or something like that. And she decided one day that she'll leave, and she was kind of nasty to him, which that was hurtful. I understand how hurtful it can be. And you go through things, and he had a real issue with neglect. His father was not really around after that because he was off working or whatever he was doing, so he basically was by himself. Um, and he was just angry, he was hurt, he was resentful, and unfortunately that made him do things that was not necessarily, you know, positive, obviously. Um, it just he really needed counseling, he really needed some help. I feel like had he was able to hash it out with his parents, if he was able to go to counseling and do some therapy or something and kind of get the resentment out of him, he probably wouldn't have been the mass murderer that he would have been. He probably would have been able to compartmentalize some of the hurt and the pain and some of the nastiness from people that he got, and been able to see that differently and try to just be himself regardless, and just you know either you hit back with them with a good ass read, or you go whip their ass, or you just not go do anything. You go let God handle it instead of killing them, because it was just a lot. And I understand how it can be a lot, especially for the LGBTQ. We go through a very lot. People necessarily that don't agree with us on how we live our life or how things we do, they really try to condemn us sometimes. And, they'll try to kill us too, But I don't think it's as bad as it used to be, if I'm not mistaken, with the killing. But because now we have equal opportunity and all that, but still people, if they don't want to accept you, they will never accept you. So, in my opinion, it's no reason to kill anybody. If they don't accept you, they just don't accept you. They're never going to accept you. So you might as well just leave them alone and just move on. You have to learn to just leave them alone. And I pray that that happens, continue to happen for me, that I continue to leave people alone and move on, because I don't want to be a killer. I don't want to be in jail for life because I done killed somebody on accident or on purpose. Because they were so, intimidating towards me because of who I am. I just, I know some people can't stand me, but that's fine. I'm still me. I'm going to be me. Regardless if you like it or not, you can kiss the back of my ass. I don't care. I don't have to fuck with you, and I don't fuck with you. And that's the wish that Jeffrey Dahmer had that attitude. He would not have been that he was, and he probably could have did so much more with his life. And, that's just unfortunate, So that was episode 1 and 2. Like I said, they said they're going to do another series coming up where they're going to be, the victim's friends that he killed. We're going to speak, so I want to see it too, and I'm going to do reviews on those as well. And I'm going to come back and do episode 3 and 4 review. But yeah, just be true to who you are, guys, at the end of the day, and be careful. You just have to be careful. The same way Jeffrey Dahmer did this, and he was, had a sexual thing for men. A straight guy can do that to a gay person too. So, just be careful. When you go to these clubs and these things, I've opened my eyes up to a lot of things. You just have to be careful. Even though people may seemingly be nice to you, it could be a whole motive behind closed doors that you know nothing about. So it's just use your common sense. If you're trying to go hang out with this person, or you think this person, you want to give it a try, just bring a friend with you for the first time, or bring a friend with you, somebody that you trust that can be there around you, who can, be, help to you if something were to go wrong or something were to happen. It can back you up. Because you just never know, y'all. You'll have to be careful. I mean, you really do. You have to use your common sense. I know sometimes it can be a bit, confusing and a bit, don't know what to do, because you don't really know if you should open your whole trust up to this person, these people, or not, because you don't know what the true intentions are. And anything can change in a split second. Sometimes you got to take a chance. Sometimes, but just use their common sense is all I'm saying. If you're going around somebody you just met tonight, dude, I go around them by your fucking self. Like, that is the dumbest thing that you can ever do. You don't know that person. You just know their name. And if you probably don't know their name, you may know their face. And especially if they're intoxicated, their personality is probably altered anyway. So you need to be extra careful, because once they sober up, or even if they're drunk, something can flip in the next minute and you don't know what to do because you're intoxicated, or you don't remember or something. You just need to be careful. But until next time, I will be back. I'm back doing my videos, so be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And also comment, dislike, it helps too. And be sure to tune in until see you guys next time. Bye, girl. Bye.